Welcome to Conversations with Damien today. And before we begin, let us take a deep breath, but let's keep our eyes open. Let us take a look into the candle, into the light. And as we breathe deeply into our consciousness, Reed in the hospital, it's nice to see you joining us today. May you heal fast. But the light of the higher consciousness, let it burn away any anxiety, any fear, any guilt, any sadness that you're feeling right now. And as you look into the light, envision the light of the Holy Spirit, the higher consciousness, the God consciousness, the Creator consciousness, the all-knowingness coming into your mind, into your heart, and enlightening you today. And so it is. For just a few moments, I am open and I am willing to see things differently. I am open and I am willing to see things differently. Today I'm going to talk about the negative self-talk disorder. Now, so often you hear me mention A Course in Miracles in our talk because I'm a student, not a master in it, but a student of A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles, to be very simple on it, is a self-study spiritual thought system that endeavors to take us from the ego mind, our true mind, to our mind that is love, our mind that is that Godness, that is the true self of where we live. The ego mind is always wanting to destroy the mind of this world, the matrix of this world, the darkness. You know, Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed to this world, the matrix, the darkness, the negativity, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God when we're transformed. Because the negative self-talk disorder is a progressive disorder, it usually starts very gradual, and unless it's dealt with and reversed, it progresses more and more into unhealthy patterns that we live, and they become a way of life. So before we really get into this, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Do I often think negative thoughts? Do I feel down or depressed for no apparent reason? Do I often see the worst first and the best last? Do I talk about myself in a way that puts me down and makes me feel less of myself? Do I find that I'm really self-critical and often hypercritical of others? If you've answered yes to this, you probably have some degree of a negative self-talk disorder. Last week I talked about the conscious and the unconscious mind, and you can go to the Conversations with Damien group, and you can pull that up and you can look at it. And what I had said was that the conscious mind only knows the data that it's put in there by yourself, by what you read, and others. The unconscious mind knows the data from the conscious mind and every single thing that has happened in your life completely. And it is the unconscious mind that powers the conscious mind to move our body like it does, and the thought process and the talk that we have. So today I'm going to introduce a couple of words to you. Neuroplasticity and neurogenius. Neuroplasticity is the muscle building part of the brain. The things that we often do become stronger, and what we don't use begins to fade away. And that's the physical basis of why making a thought or an action over and over and over again increases its power. Our brains are consistently being shaped by our experiences. Now, I don't know about you, but most of us have different behaviors and thoughts than we did 20 years ago. And this is a shift of neuroplasticity in action that changes the brain structure, the very structure of the brain and organization, as we experience and we learn and we adapt. With every repetition of a thought or emotion, we are reinforcing the neural pathway. And with each new thought, we begin to create a new way of being, a new way of speaking. And these small changes frequently, if we do them enough, they lead to changes in how our brains work, and it becomes an automatic way of doing things, and we literally become what we think. Now, neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain to form new connections and pathways and to change how its circuits are wired. That's important. The neurogenesis, which we're not going to really get into, is actually the replacement of damaged neurons in your brain, in your mind, that they're experimenting with that will help the prevention of dementia and other traumatic brain injuries. But we're not interested in that today. We're going on the neuroplasticity. And much of our negative self-talk comes from the hurt and the pain that's been created in our life by others around us, by sometimes parents, by people who we thought supported us, sometimes caretakers. If you grew up in a harmful and a shame-based family, you took on loads of negative self-talk, and that self-talk continues to burden you even in the present. Negative self-talk alienates you from yourself and others. It means that you're continually assuming the worst. Your cup is half empty. And the positive self-talk brings you more understanding, more empathy, more acceptance, and more tolerance for who you are and others. It means you're assuming the best about yourself and others. You see the goodness rather than the badness in the world. I had a lot of negative self-talk. I'm not good enough. I'll never amount to anything. I won't be anything. I can't do this. I'm not good enough looking. I'm not handsome enough. I'm not manly enough. I'm not masculine enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not. I can't. Victim mentality is the negative self-talk disorder. But what I have found is you can't heal what you do not feel. And because of the negative self-talk disorder, it led me into addiction. The addiction led me into the throes of suicide. My life was so painful. Now, one of the things that I say all the time, and I'm going to be very strong on this today, because words have power, and words either create life or death to our situation. words set us free, our words keep us in bondage. When I would go to a 12-step meeting for years, my name is Damien and I'm an addict. I'm bringing the addiction into the present. And no matter how I would try and white knuckle it, I still had the addict mind set going on. You know, Einstein said, you cannot have a solution to you cannot bring the same thinking to a solution that you had when your thinking put you in the problem. The same thinking that brought the problem to you is not going to be the same thinking that's going to solve the problem for you. And when I began to do the study of A Course in Miracles, and I began to move from the ego mind into the mind of true love and the godness, you know, the true mind sees us all as one, not separate. The ego mind is about them and those people over there, them. But the true mind is we're all one, we're all part of each other. You know, we're a part of God, we're part of the universe, we're all collectively part of each other. So my verbiage began to change. And I began to say, my name is Damien and I am a recovering addict. The recovering addict. The recovering became my emphasis, for whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you focus on expands. And as I said earlier, that the thought process that we do over and over increases its power. And as you who are in addiction and recovery, as you begin to change your thinking from addiction to recovery, you will find that the power of recovery is there. And you don't slip into, oh, you know what, I'm being triggered, I want to use. That does not begin to happen because your thought process, your emphasis, your strength is that I'm thinking recovery. I am recovering. I am. That is who I am. I encourage people when they give their talks at 12-step meetings. All of us know what it's like to roll around in the muck and the mire. All of us knows what it's like to make a mess out of our life. But what about if we begin to share what the solution is that keeps us from rolling around in the muck? Not the mess, but the message. The message is that I am recovered, I am recovering daily. I am recovering and discovering more about who I am. Now, I talk a lot about meditation. And if you go to the group Conversations with Damien, you'll see some meditations on there. I created those for you a couple weeks ago each day so that if you don't know how to meditate, pull one of those up, use it as a guide. Meditation for healing a physical body, for anxiety, for addiction and recovery. Use that as a guide to help you to build who you really are, to see the best of who you are. So, I'm losing my thought here. So, when we learn how to speak differently and we learn how to meditate, the more mindful we become, the more we meditate, the more our brain adapts to this state as our default state. When I'm feeling a little bit low, a little bit whatever, my mind defaults to recovery, not to addiction. My verbiage defaults to recovery, not addiction. Jessica Cassidy, who is a psychologist and a writer, said this about mindful meditation and neuroplasticity. With meditation, your brain is effectively being rewired. Drugs have destroyed areas of the brain that need to be rewired. As your feelings and your thoughts morph towards a more pleasant outlook. Your brain is also transforming, making this way of thought more of a default. And the more your brain changes from meditation, the more you react to everyday life with the same sense of calm, compassion, and awareness. The more you react every single day with the same sense of calm, compassion, and awareness. Your self-talk, my friends, is either sabotaging you or supporting you. The negative self-talk is bringing you unnecessary stress, depression, self-doubt. The positive self-talk encourages self-confidence. It gives you coping mechanisms. So today, I'm challenging you to make a commitment to yourself that you will focus on changing the negative thought to the positive thought. You say, oh, it's so easy for you to say. Do you know, when I first started doing this, I kept a self-talk log, piece of paper, and every time I would have a negative self-talk thought, I would write it down. And I began to look at them. And I noticed a pattern. And then I began to learn that you can learn how to turn negative thinking into positive thinking. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes commitment, it takes creating a new habit periodically during the day. Stop, evaluate what you're thinking, and if you find your thoughts are mainly negative, try to find a new way to put a different spin on it. One thing that I try to remember is don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to someone else. It's not important what other people say to you. It's important what you say to yourself. You see, I'm 71 years old. My body, my mind, my soul, my spirit know my voice. My mind knows my voice. It will that fast jump into gear with what I tell it and believe it to be true, even if it's a lie. My voice so well. So, changing our self-talk. First of all, catch it. Recognize when you're having negative thoughts or unhelpful thoughts. Catch it. Control it. Stop. When you find yourself thinking negatively, stop. Now what I do is this, and I could be in a store, I could be in the car, I could be by myself. I have a negative self-talk, a self-thought. I go delete, 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 delete. I am not going to let those be downloaded into my being. I stop the downward spiral of thoughts leading to sadness, guilt, anxiety, hurt. And the third thing is I challenge these. Is this a thought that is lifting me up? Is this a talk that is lifting me up? Is what I'm saying to somebody, is that lifting them up? Or is this a talk that is putting somebody else down? If it's a talk putting somebody else down, let it go. Change it. Change the negative messages that you're saying to yourself into realistic, positive ones in order to be more pleasant and helpful. Do you know the book of Isaiah, the 26th chapter, 3rd verse says, You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. As we begin to have positive talk and positive thoughts, our minds become steadfast. You know, Jesus told the story about the house that was built on the sand and the house that was built on the rocks. And when the house that was built on the sand, the ocean came along and washed it away. But the house that was built on the rocks, when the storm came, it stood anchored there. When we have these self-defeating, negative self-talk, disorder, it's like building our thoughts and our foundation on the sand. And every wind that comes to us, every catastrophe that comes, every pandemic that comes, we're washed away. But when we are building our thoughts and our words upon the positivity of who we really are, then there is an anchor there. In the group Conversations with Damien, you're going to find a link that is a printable affirmation cards. I believe there's 39 of them that you can go to and you can print them out. Have a little homework for you. If you really want to change your life, if you're sick of self-defeating negative thoughts and you want to change your life, go to that link in Conversations with Damien in the group page. Pull it up and go to that. And every single day for a month, if you will take one of those positive, printable affirmations and concentrate on that for that day, I guarantee you that your life will change. I guarantee that in 30 days that your mind, the neuroplasticity, the building of your mind, the ability of the brain to form new connections and pathways and change how its circuits are wired will be done. You will be a new person. Last but not least, never, never, never say anything that you don't want to be true for yourself. Never say anything that you don't want to be true for yourself. Words have power, and when we put them out there on the sound wave in the universe says yes to us, and we have a whole bunch of mess coming in because we've created things with our negative self-talk disorder. Let's let it go. Let's let it go. Today, I am blessed. Today, I am forgiven. Today, I am whole. Today, I am complete. Today, I am recovering. Today, I am in my right mind. Today, I am happy. Today, I am calm. Today, I am peaceful. Today, be open and willing to say things differently. And as I close all my talks with this, remember, kindness is the language the deaf can hear. Kindness is the language the blind can see. Be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Until next Sunday at 2 o'clock, we'll see you then.